Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and obviously in today's video we're going to be going over the TRX and the Raptor. That'll be like the first part of the video. We'll be going over the TRX and the Raptor. Then we're going to be going over the Bronco because that's like another off-road vehicle. And then we're going to be going over the Supra and the C8 and some other cars. And so with all that being said, let's just get right into it. I thought that we should do things in the Raptor bed for this part of the video because, I don't know, I just wanted to try something new because we always like sit inside the Raptor, so I thought maybe we'll do the bed for today's video. But anyways, first off, let's obviously get into the TRX, and I'm sure that's why most of you are watching this video, so if that's all that you want to hear about, then we'll get that information done with, so then you can just move on with your life and not have to wait till like the end of a 10-minute video to hear basically an update on something. So with the TRX, my TRX is supposed to ship out on January 18th. And so then that means that my truck will probably arrive down in Texas sometime at the end of January or at the beginning of February. Obviously don't have an exact date at this point, but that's probably where it's going to arrive. Obviously there are some other people that did order the truck that make YouTube as well, that they might be getting their truck in January. Obviously I wish that I'd be getting my truck in January, but February is still not that much farther from that, and so that truck should be arriving sometime in February to my knowledge at this point. And so that's what's happening at least with the TRX. Now over to the Bronco, if you guys haven't read the news, Ford actually delayed the Bronco production, and so you can't even order a Bronco until January. I think it's like the middle of January is when they'll actually open up the ordering for the Bronco, and so I won't even be able to order anything on the Bronco till basically the middle of January. If you guys are wondering, I basically put in a pre-order on the first edition. It's the special edition. The sad part is you cannot order that in black, which has kind of put me in an interesting predicament because I order all my cars in black so that I can wrap them a crazy color and that it'll always like match. So since I can't order that in black, I'm probably going to do something a little bit different with it. I'm debating between two different colors. I'm kind of debating between the Cactus Gray and the Area 51. I'm leaning more towards Area 51 on the Bronco. Obviously the Cyber Orange would kind of go with the overall theme better of what I've done with vehicles on the channel so far, because I always seem to do green or orange or, you know, some bright color like that. But I don't really like the Cyber Orange because it looks more yellow than orange, at least in the pictures. I haven't seen it in person. Maybe it looks more orange in person, but in the pictures it looks like yellowish, and so it's not really my thing. But if it looks more orange in person, then I might end up going for that color. But right now it's between Cactus Gray, Area 51. Area 51 is my #1 pick. Cactus Gray is #2, and then Cyber Orange is #3 with the Bronco. And then if you guys are wondering in terms of landing, the Bronco, I imagine that if they're already having to push production this far, and then I think they said that like by summertime that the Bronco should be landing. But if you ask me, I think it's not going to be here till like late summer, like August, September, if not maybe into the winter of 2021. That's just my guess. I think that the production's constantly going to have hiccups with this vehicle, just because there's so much demand for it and all this stuff. And so that's my guess. I don't know exactly when it'll land. It'll land when it lands, but if you ask me, I think it's going to be late summer or even into the fall or winter of 2021 for the Bronco. Well, now as you can see, we are in the backyard, and I guess the last thing I want to mention about the Raptors, obviously I am going to be selling it once the TRX comes in, and so if you are interested in the Raptor, it's going to be available at the end of January, beginning of February, whenever the TRX comes in. So yes, if you guys want to buy this truck, end of January, beginning of February, and then it'll finally be available. Oh man, it looks like we got a little friend back here, and if you guys are wondering, he's absolutely massive right now. I think that last time I weighed him, he's about like just over 80 pounds, and he is just over 9 months old, so it's kind of scary how big he's getting. I think that he's going to be like 120 something pounds. I don't know, he's just absolutely massive. But dog aside, one of the things that I am thinking about has to pertain to this little area right here. So I'm trying to show people something, and you keep getting in the way. But anyways, this is probably a better viewpoint of this area. So like starting from where I'm like standing right here in the corner to just past that trash can, and then coming all along here, and then to back, obviously getting rid of this little thing. I'm thinking of potentially, dude, why you gotta pee in the video? Now I'm gonna get demonetized because of this. Anyways, I'm thinking about potentially putting a garage back here. Obviously, if you guys have been watching the channel for long enough, I have been looking for a house with a better garage situation than this one currently. But another idea is putting something back here, which, I mean, it'd be perfect. So like, if you guys can imagine, obviously you'd fill this up so there would no longer be a little window there for the basement, sadly, which isn't a huge deal in my opinion. I know some people care about that kind of stuff. I don't personally. But obviously you'd fill this up. And if you guys think like space-wise, you literally could have probably up to like maybe about the porch here. That's about like one car right there. And then if you go past the porch and over to here, you're probably another car. And then if you go just past this little structure here, then you probably fit 3 cars. I think he just likes being on camera at this point. But anyways, if you guys like brought the garage past this wall right here, then you could easily fit a truck. So what I'm thinking is like a 3-car garage setup that's probably a little bit deeper than like your average garage. So I could fit a ton of cars back here, and it'd be the perfect setting for me to film, because obviously we got the nice little trees back here and the wood pile that he is deciding to climb on. I don't know what the heck this dog is doing, but anyways, it would be like a decent amount of space back here, obviously for storage, but it'd be great for filming as well. You guys can imagine a driveway that would come out here and then have like an automated gate basically back here. And so that's, again, another idea. I'm not married to it. I'm still looking at potentially building a place that would have a big enough garage for what I need, or buying a place that has that. But this is kind of like another little idea that I've been thinking of that could be pretty cool, because this is just a really nice area that this particular house is in. Oh, always coming back for more. I think this one's hard, so I don't want to, yeah, we don't want to mess with that one. Zorro, that one would hurt. Okay, let's do this one. Hey, calm down. So we are now in the garage, and at this point we're going to be talking about the Supra. And actually we have a truck here in the garage today, so it'll actually give you guys a really good idea of how much space this garage doesn't have. So as you guys can see, this is just a regular Ram 1500. It's a 2017. And if you guys notice, like space wise, it's really tight, but the Raptor is actually quite a bit wider than this truck. So from a width standpoint, the Raptor just doesn't really fit. And the Raptor is actually a little bit longer than this truck as well. And you guys can see, I mean, you might be able to make it work with the Raptor in this garage, but it would be a pain in the butt to like park it in here every single day. So that's why I don't park the Raptor in the garage. And that's why I want something that's a little bit more spacious in this garage, so that like I could comfortably fit the truck in the garage, like what this truck comfortably fits in here, whereas the Raptor doesn't. And so it'd be nice to be able to have the Raptor obviously in the garage, and then the TRX when I get that. And that's the other problem, is the TRX is even longer than the Raptor, and it's even wider than the Raptor, so the TRX would definitely not fit in here. So now let's like actually talk about the Supra here and the whole situation with this car. So first off, I absolutely love the car. I love how it drives, and it meets most of my needs. It's not the most luxurious, but it's, you know, luxurious enough that I really like driving it on a daily basis when I can, when there's not snow outside. And then in terms of the attention in person, it's absolutely crazy. It's actually helped my channel grow because of how many people see it in state, and then they end up going and subscribing to my channel. But from a YouTube perspective, this car really hasn't done that good for me. And it's just because there's so much Supra content on YouTube. It's pretty much like oversaturated. And sorry, the camera doesn't want to focus on the car. The content on the Supras is just oversaturated, and so it's really hard for me to justify it from a business perspective on the YouTube and Facebook side of things, because the videos just haven't gotten as many views as I would have expected them to get. So that obviously leads into the next part of the video, and you guys kind of saw my post probably last night about the budget for the vehicles. So there's just going to be a bunch of different options. I'm going to post in a actual poll now with different vehicle options. There's a bunch of different routes that I could go. So this does not include the TRX. So guys, just any options that you guys kind of think of or that I put in the poll, just understand that none of those include the TRX. I'm getting the TRX regardless. Like that's like on a whole nother side of things for the channel. This is purely just for other vehicles on the channel aside from the TRX. So obviously one route that I could basically go is with keeping the Supra. And if I keep the Supra, I definitely want to do a little bit more with it modification wise. So I've gotten a bunch of stuff from Speed Industry, and I get a few more things from them. So right now, with the stuff that I have gotten from them is the massive carbon fiber spoiler, and then the car's on lowering springs that has an air intake. I did have a catted downpipe, but I took it off and went back to stock because I want to go probably catless with the car now, because Speed Industry has a catless downpipe and a tune that basically bumps this car up to like 500 horsepower. And I'm not saying this car's like already really fast from the factory, but 500 horsepower in this car would just be an absolute blast. It would make the car just that much more exciting. And so if I keep the car, that's kind of the route that I will go with the car. And so I just want you guys to understand that when I mention the other options. So obviously I'll be putting a pull down for the cars down below, but one of the first ones I've been looking at is the Acura NSX, and of course the light pops off. Obviously then I would be selling the Supra if I got the NSX, just because of how expensive the NSX is. Absolutely love that car. Thanks to Kyle for letting me review his car. It's been the like craziest experience for me personally, because I've reviewed quite a few supercars this year, and then I did some last year as well. And that car, just like, I can't stop thinking about it, because not only is it all-wheel drive where I could drive it, you know, year round, even in the snow, as long as I got snow tires. It's super reliable and it's super fast. Like it has all the supercar stuff, but then it's also not crazy expensive to maintain, and it holds its value really well. Like they have been the same price used for the last few years, and the fact that it has the same like maintenancing schedule as pretty much like a Honda Accord hybrid just makes that car really appealing to me. Because the thing that like really keeps me away from buying a supercar is supercar maintenance is super expensive on most of them. I don't have to deal with that, but the Acura NSX kind of doesn't have that. Now, the next option that I've been looking into is actually keeping the Supra and getting something else on the side, so just having two sports cars. So if I kept the Supra, then again, I would do the catless downpipe and the tune, make it go up to 500 horsepower. And then the car that I've been thinking about getting on the side is actually an older 911. So right now, if you guys look at like 2005 to 2008 911 Carrera 2S's with a manual transmission, they're between like, if for a good condition one, if you get one with like crazy high mileage, you're obviously cheaper than this, but most of them are between like $35,000 to $40,000. And so that would actually, between the two cars, would be less than if I got like an NSX, for example. But I've been thinking about that because then I could, you know, go a little bit more into the Supra in terms of the build, and then I'd still have like a fun, reliable sports car to drive. I'm not saying that doing the catless downpipe would make this unreliable, but obviously when you have more power, you're putting more stress on the engine, so then the car's not going to be as reliable as what it would have been stock with less power, all that kind of stuff. And so that's another thought, is again going more into the Supra build, but then having another car that I could still daily drive and still have fun with, but then, you know, drive the Supra every so often, because it'd just be like this crazy like experience every single time I drive it. The next option is doing the C8 Corvette. Now I've been leaning towards just pushing this over to the business side for Tron Auto Lab and just having it be a car for Tron Auto Lab, doing a build there and all that kind of stuff. But obviously part of me still wants it. But the big thing against the C8 is similar to what I've experienced here with the Supra, is the content is just completely oversaturated. Don't get me wrong, the C8 is an absolutely amazing car, but on the YouTube business side of things, there's been so much content done on it that the videos on that car really don't get that many views. Like the review that I did on the white C8, I'd have to double check, but I think that has like 10,000 views or less, which over a long period of time for my channel is just not really good. And then the second video that I did on the C8, where I reviewed Chandler David Smith's C8, I think that video has like 7,000, 8,000 views, which again isn't really good for my channel, and that just kind of tells me that people are not really interested in watching content on that car anymore. So again, I've kind of like started to push that towards the business side with Tron Auto Lab, because obviously those cars are going way over market value, so there is some opportunity there if we do a cool build on it. But from like the YouTube viewership perspective, it's not as strong. The next idea is actually doing a Lexus LC 500. You guys know I absolutely love that car. It's my favorite luxury car, and that'd be an awesome car to daily drive. Obviously all the reviews that I do for the channel would be nice to like have a car that comfortable, and also have like a really cool like V8 sound to listen to when I'm driving from dealership to dealership. If I got that, it's about $60,000 to $70,000 for used ones right now. Some of them are dipping into the $50,000 range, which I'm happy about. I want them to get cheaper so that they're more affordable. And then if I did that, what I would actually do is sell the Supra and buy like a cheaper Porsche Cayman. So if you get like a 2006 to 2008 Porsche Cayman, right now they're about $20,000 to $30,000, again, depending on mileage and condition, all that, with a manual transmission. And there's a place called TPC that makes a turbo kit that basically bumps that car up to like 400 horsepower, I think. And so having that car, you know, the mid-engine fun weekend car that's turbocharged, and then having the LC500 that's automatic and has the big V8, I think that'd be a cool combination for the channel. Those are just some of the ideas. And again, I'll have the options in a poll that'll be posted pretty much alongside this video for you guys to be able to go and vote in. But obviously you guys can kind of see that I'm kind of looking for cars that are a little bit more reliable and aren't going to be crazy expensive to maintain. And a big reason for that is I drive a ton of miles now. So if you guys don't know, I bought this Supra back at the end of July. Basically, it was July 31st. So, you know, end of July. And I already have over 4,000 miles on this car coming into winter. And if it wasn't winter time, then I would have probably over 5,000 miles on this car at this point. The Raptor has just over 14,000 miles on it. And with me doing the math and everything with how much I've been driving, especially these last few months, and how it just keeps increasing, next year I'm probably gonna drive 20 to 30,000 miles in a year. And so obviously it'd be nicer to have 3 cars to be able to split up the mileage. And that's why I kind of am leaning towards doing like a 3-car option. But obviously I also want cars that are reliable, because if I'm driving that many miles, I can't deal with breakdowns and all that kind of stuff, because it'll get in the way of work. So that's kind of where I'm going back and forth on the different vehicle options and what to get, and why I'm leaning towards getting something that's more reliable versus something that's a little bit cooler, right? Like an Audi R8 or a McLaren 570S or something that would be a really cool car to get. But I don't want to deal with the maintenance costs that are associated with putting a ton of miles on that car. And I also don't want to deal with, you know, the reliability of those types of vehicles. I already feel like this video is a little bit too long. So again, go vote in the poll, and hopefully you guys are excited as I am for the TRX to come in. That's like, ooh, I think this one's gonna be really good for the channel. I'm just really, really excited for the truck, just from a channel perspective with the ROI I'm gonna get on the truck, but then also, like, I've just always wanted that truck, and so it'll be a fun little thing. But anyways, if you're stopping for the first time, please subscribe, comment down below what you think, and then I'll see all of you in that next video.